Everybody, hello. I am so incredibly sorry. Today has been, I feel like every time I come on my lives, I always end up saying that the day has been crazy, but today has truly been an event, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I got to get my light turned on. I got to get my books out. I am a total mess. Thank you for hanging out and waiting for me, even though I was like 7 minutes late. So thank you. Give me just 1 second. Oh, so if y'all remember, last time we were here, I was talking about how I learned how to drive a manual car, and I was really interested in buying a stick shift because I wanted to be able to practice on it, but I wanted to find one that, had been used but well taken care of. That way I wasn't spending a lot to be able to find one or to, maintain it either. And I actually found one and I went and I test drove the car and I looked at the guy and I was like, yeah, I'd like to buy this. And so went, test drove the car. He and his wife drove it back so that I could get it. And then I had to immediately leave to go over to the BMV because it's a holiday weekend. And I was like, I have to get plates for this so I can actually, or, like my little tag so I can drive it this weekend, get my insurance all good. And I got home and I wanted to take Keaton out in it really quick, so we were out driving around, and then I looked at the clock and I was like, I haven't had any dinner and I need to grab something before the sprints. And then so I completely just lost track of time because I was so focused on this car, which was really exciting. I mean, it's super cool. It is a beautiful car that I never in a million years thought that I would own. And it's a ton of fun. And I really have to get used to driving it. But it's awesome. So it's great. But I hope that you all are doing well. So please tell me what has been going on with you over the past week, as well as what you were reading and working on tonight. Because I can tell you that for me, I am still going through Prime Deception. At least I think. Did I bring this up on my last sprint? Did I start reading this since then? I actually can't remember. Maybe I wasn't reading this then. But I'm reading Prime Deception now, which is the sequel to Chilling Effect, which is the book that I recently gave a review for, and I had a lot of fun reading it. And I found the sequel at my library, which I didn't even know that they had, which is super exciting. So I grabbed it and I started reading that, and I'm on page 70. And then I have not picked up Crying in H Mart in probably 5 days that I have since read this, and I'm still really liking it. I have not been in the mood for it when I've picked up a book. I've wanted to read something kind of light and fun. So I'll probably take some time to read this tonight as well. When we're doing our first sprint, I likely will need to shove food in my face because I didn't actually eat. I was just grabbing the food. So I'll be doing that too. And you'll probably end up hearing Barker because Keaton's going to take him out on a WALK. I can't say the word or else he'll freak out hearing me say it in the other room. But again, thank you everybody for holding out and waiting for me. Kat was saying, take your time. Angel said, yay, Friday. No worries, Alex. Hello, Kat. Kat says, I just hopped off Andy's stream, so I have to feed my doggies. Oh, well, I'm sure they appreciate that. The puppers always like to get their food. Alicia says, dinner is a priority. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kat. Thank you, Alicia. And Jessica, hello. Jessica says, good morning. Just waking up, going to have a food and coffee sprint. I'm thinking I might listen to the audio of Scarlet by Marissa Meyer and do some housework today. Nice. And Miss Starbuck Magnolia says, hello, everyone. Hello to you too. Said, have a nice dinner, Alex. Yeah, I will. I promise. I don't know whether I'll eat it on camera or off. Probably off because you don't want to see that. Heidi says, 30 want to be first. Okay, it'll be a 30-minute sprint. Heidi beat everybody because I didn't even get to ask the question. That's hilarious. Also, Heidi, I did want to give a shout out to Heidi because I got a shipment from her of all of the Wheel of Time books, as well as a really sweet photo of her son, Luke, and a photo of Batman, like a coloring page of Batman they had colored in, and she had sent a card to me as well. And I have both the Batman and the card, and with the photo hanging up on my wall. And it's just so cool to now have the entire collection for Wheel of Time. So it's really cool. So thank you so much again, Heidi. And Angel said, I'm going to start A Discovery of Witches on audio by Deborah Harkness. Cool. I've heard a lot of really good things about that, but have not personally read it. So I hope it's great. And Magnolia says, haha, that's really early. Heidi, hello, by the way. And Miss Starbucks said, I'm reading Mr. Monk Goes to Hawaii today. Oh, that's fun. Kat says, hey, Angel, Lisa, Jessica, Magnolia, Heidi. I hope y'all are doing well. And hello, Kat, and hi, Kat. And Magnolia says, I am doing fine again. And Alicia says, congrats on the new car. Thank you. Kat says, congrats on getting the car. Exciting. Yeah, I was just having a conversation with Kat earlier today. We were having a chat online, and I was telling her that I might end up buying it. And the gentleman that I bought it from and his wife were both incredibly nice people. Like the fact that they, like, honestly, they sold it to me at like a really great price. The car is in great condition. And then the fact that they drove it to right near my house. I didn't take them to my house because I don't like people knowing where I live. But I took them to a place that was really close nearby to where Keaton could easily get there. And, it was like a 35-minute drive for them to like take it for me so that I didn't have to bring him out and then try to drive the car back home that time. And it was just nice because then I was able to accomplish everything today, like going to the BMV, because they did that. So just super, super nice people. I couldn't have asked for better. And Magnolia says, glad you got a nice car. Thank you. It's not like it's not my daily driver. It's not a car that like I got it because something happened to my other car. I still have my little Prius that I love, and I'm not getting rid of her unless I had to. And so this is just a car for me to like have fun and learn in. And it's very outside of my character to do something like this. So it's like crazy for me, like even looking at myself, that I went and I bought a convertible. But it was a really cheap convertible, and I was like, it's worth it. So it's cool. I now have I can now get like air on a nice hot day. And Isa, hello. Isa says, finally able to join the sprints again. Usually work on Friday nights. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to you. And also exciting on not having to work. Heidi says, hi, everyone. I was listening to Mad Ship all day and finished Of Darkness and Light. Great job. Isa says, I'm going through the Hugo Awards packet. So cool to have it for the first time. I'm currently reading Your Wish is My Command and some of the short stories. Cool. I have not heard of the Hugo Awards packet, so that's cool. I mean, I love the Hugo Awards, like when they do the nominees every year, which I don't think that happens until July, if I recall. But like hearing packet, that's new to me. Kat says, I'll be writing a book review before going to my mother-in-law's for dinner, waiting on Barry to get home from work. Well, safe travels to him. And Nicole, hello. Nicole says, hi, Alex, out and about with hubby tonight, but swinging in to say hi. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Nicole. I hope you have a great time with your husband. Alicia says, I'll be starting The Troop by Nick Cutter. I know of that book, and I know about the body horror. So I would love to hear from you, Alicia, when you get like in the thick of it, if it's truly like as gritty as I've heard. This is going to be interesting. Heidi says, you're welcome. Luke is watching you right now. He prefers my phone rather than his 47-inch TV screen. Oh, well, hello to you, Luke. And let me see. I want him to be able to know that it's up on my wall. So I'm going to like spin around here, everybody. Okay, ready? Dun, 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 dun. There it is. He is in a prominent place up on my wall, and there's your card and my little calendar here, and it's right next to my computer screens where I work. So I see it every time that I sit down. So it's really cool. I probably could have spun the other way, but no, that wouldn't have worked either. And Nicole says, I may or may not be on Wi-Fi at the store. At the bookstore. Oh, that's awesome. Even better because it's at the bookstore. Isa says, congratulations. Thank you. And Magnolia says, Nicole, oh, that's dangerous telling. Now we can give you all tips. Yes. They're just like inundating her with all the things that she could pick up. Not that she doesn't have enough, from people on her channel, like, providing recommendations. Kat says, hey, Nicole and Issa. Ooh. And Magnolia says, I'm exactly at page 100 and Monk 100 out of 286. That's a solid book. And Jessica says, Nicole! Kat says, I love the troop, Alicia. I didn't know that you'd read that, Kat. So I'm interested to hear more about that from you as well, like without spoilers, but it's good to know that you love it. Alicia says, I hope it is. Haha. I will keep you posted. And Alicia says, I hope it will too, Kat. Jamie, hi. Jamie says, hi, Alex and everyone. Hello to you too. Lisa says the nominees are out and they have recently sent out the packet to all the voting members. Oh, okay. So I'm just like way behind. I didn't even realize that the nominees were out, which means I need to go and immediately look at it. So that's awesome. Thank you for telling me. It has most of the nominated works in PDF and EPUB, which is amazing. Love it. That's super cool. Isa says, hi, Kat. And Magnolia says, you spin me right round, baby, right round like a record baby. That's a song. I do know that song. I'm familiar with that. I listened to that a lot, actually, when I was growing up. Kat says, hey, Jamie. And Heidi had already called 30 minutes. And so I need to get my kitty over on the right screen. And I also need to change the background because every week I like to have a slightly different background and a slightly different cat color because it's just, I don't know, it just keeps it interesting. So we're going to do that. If I can see anything, there we go. I can barely see sometimes. And wrong screen again. Kat says, hey, Jamie. And Christina says, hi, Alex. Hi, chat. Hi, Christina. I will be reading something, to be honest, hugging, or to be, is it like to be announced, to be determined, hugging the like button. Thank you very much. And Jessica saying, hi, Christina. And Magnolia saying, now everybody who knows that song doesn't get it out of their head. That's very true. Christina says, hi, Jessica. And thanks, Miss Starbuck. And hi, Kat. Hey, Christina. Jamie saying, I spent the past hour snuggling some adorable black kittens. That's so sweet. Automatically just makes life better when you get to like hug on adorable kitties. I love that. I was going to have it be like the background be this nice color, but I'm realizing for the fact I'm wearing pink, there's pink behind me, the tone of the screen, I just look very red. I don't know. I like the background. I'm going to leave it. I don't care. If it gets to be really distracting, it's like, Alex, why is your face orange? Just let me know and I will change it. Christina says, yes, to be decided. Okay. Okay. And Miss Starbuck says, Christina, you're welcome. All right, everybody. Well, I am going to get our sprint pulled up here. And I would like to know, would you rather be royalty 1,000 years ago or an average person today? I think that that's a fun question and one that I actually didn't get to last week. So we get to do it this time. And we'll go ahead. Sorry, everybody. I'm like super like discombobulated. So your patience is appreciated. I'm going to do that. There we go. I don't like this background thing. I got to get this off of here. I was testing stuff earlier with Kat and I don't like it being there. So I got to take it off. All right. There we go. And I will see you all in a little bit. Happy reading and enjoy your 30 minutes. I was muted that entire time. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've completely lost my mind, guys. So thank you for telling me sorry that the sound was gone because I missed a step. So allow me to backtrack because I was doing that for minutes on end. Um, I asked you all the question before we left. Would you rather be royalty 1,000 years ago or an average person today? And to give you an update on my reading, I didn't do a whole heck of a lot because I was scarfing down my food, and Keaton and Barker went outside to go for a little, jaunt around, and it started thunderstorming, and I was worried about them getting back, so I didn't really like read all that much. So that was what I was saying, and all that time that I was like miming to you and hoping that you could just read lips really well. Sorry about that. Christina says, well, I'm an average person, so maybe for a bit it would be fun to see what it was really like back then. But here's the question. If you had to go back in time and permanently stay there, would you rather do that? And it just, like you could be an average person today, or you had to go back in time and be royalty. Would you be willing to do it if, like, those were the circumstances that you couldn't come back? Or is it only if you would get a chance to see what it was like? That was my question before I realized I was on mute. And Diane says, evening, and evening to you too. And she also says, royalty. Okay. And Kat says, hi, Diana. Or Diane. And Heidi says, average person today with the V. Christina was wondering what that means. And Kat says, an average person today. Okay. And Jessica says, average person, I don't want to be anything 1,000 years ago. LOL, way too tumultuous for royalty back then. And to be a woman in those times. Yes, I would completely agree with you. There would be nothing beneficial, in my opinion, to be royalty back then, especially not as a woman. And also just the illnesses that people dealt with and the cures for things, the quote unquote cures that they had that were often extremely painful, and like amputations and surgeries. And if you like needed dental work, and that's just a big fat no for me. I'll pass. I actually don't mind being an average person. Heidi says, Christina, I had a multitasking failure. Oh, for your message. And Heidi said, average person with modern comforts got to be better than wealthy princess in the Middle Ages. 100% agree. I mean, think about the fact that air conditioning, was like 100 years ago. Like people wouldn't have even thought of how comfortable our homes could be, let alone 1,000 years ago. And there were some advancements that people had come up with back then that were really impressive. And I don't want to say that like, oh, it was just barbaric, because like there were some really impressive like feats of engineering going on, and like life was simpler back then, but it was also really brutal, and I just don't want anything to do with that. Alicia says average person today, but it would be cool to time travel. But again, time travel for like little periods of time or go back. You wouldn't want to go back just permanently. And Emily says, happy Friday to all. Happy Friday to Emily. Said, this is a tough question. If I could choose living in the Americas, I think I'd be willing to try being royalty, quote unquote royalty, 1,000 years ago. Okay. Interesting. Why specifically in the Americas, though? Is it because like royalty in the Americas was very different than like in Great Britain, for example? Like what is that for you? And Kat says, hey, Emily. And Heidi says, when the heroine in Outlander knows she's going to time travel, she takes a few items back with her, like a raincoat and penicillin. I didn't know that she had the option to do that because I haven't read or watched Outlander. So that is news to me. Is it something that just happens randomly, or does she choose to go back, kind of like somebody's going to get this reference, and Inuyasha with the well? Like, I'm curious. Robert says, would you rather chew gum backwards or make applesauce with tomatoes? Well, it wouldn't be applesauce if it were tomatoes, and chewing bubble gum backwards sounds really weird. Like, I guess instead of what, like, up and down going forward, it would be going backwards. That would be awful. Tell you what, I'm going to go with chewing gum backwards, only because I could choose to do it for a few seconds and then not have to do it again. But applesauce with tomatoes sounds absolutely terrible. And Jamie says, average person, modern average women don't have to be married off to strangers for politics. Yeah. They don't. You get to choose, for the most part, a lot of people get to choose who they want to be with. Oh, and yeah, thank you for everybody who's saying the sound is gone. What? Robert, sorry. I know it took a second. Jamie says, I spent that sprint on YouTube mostly watching the early storm building of today's big storms. Yeah, we're getting one right now, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be too terrible. Thunderstorms, when I was a kid, they never made me nervous, but as a homeowner, they make me nervous. Like, not the kind where it's just a heavy rain, like that can be okay, but the ones where like the wind is really bad and they're like, oh yeah, the miles per hour of the wind gusts could be anywhere between 50 to 60 miles per hour. Like, those are the ones that bother me because they're the ones that damage homes. So there's that. Magnolia says, it's a hard question. So many sides on each of them. I guess I choose to be an average person today. Well, I completely understand that. And you said read 19 pages this session. Good job. And Christina, hello. Christina says, average person. Please, can you imagine dentistry back then barbaric? Yes, exactly. That was what I was thinking of, because it was it Cleopatra who died of like, it was like an abscess or something in her mouth that I think it ultimately caused lockjaw or something, where like she couldn't eat and she was just in excruciating pain. I don't ever want to be anywhere near that. Hard pass. And Magnolia says, but when you were born in that time, you wouldn't know better. That's true. But we're talking about the opportunity, I guess, to travel back in time. And so you would know if you traveled back now. If you were given the option at birth, though, I mean, you're right. You wouldn't know. But I still don't think that most people would be very happy. Plus, people could be very bored back then as well. Like, just imagine all you could do all day is sit around and talk to people who are also rich, who don't actually have any like real problems or anything interesting to talk about. It's like the people who speak in The Picture of Dorian Gray and they talk about nothing all day long, but they act like it's the most important thing in the world. I don't want that either. That sounds terrible. And Magnolia says applesauce with tomatoes, also known as ketchup. That's at a fair point. Or salsa. It probably would be kind of like salsa. I like this thought. And Heidi says, to avoid more spoilers, the characters in these time travel books go back for love. I guess that beats out electricity. Aw, love. As long as it's a pure love. And Angel says, ew, chewing gum backwards sounds like you would be putting a wet piece of gum in your mouth and then it would get dry. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's that's a good realization, Angel. That's really good. And Magnolia says, okay, but when you travel back, you might change some things in that time, especially when you're royalty and higher up. That's true, but could you change it for better or for worse? A lot of people think if they went back in time to change things that they would be able to make things better. But what if you ended up making history worse with some small change that you made? That is the premise of one of Ray Bradbury's very famous short stories called, Thunder is in the title. It's not like Rolling Thunder. The Sound of Thunder? I can't remember. If you know what I'm talking about, you can put it in the chat. But there's a guy who basically books a chance to go back in time, and it's kind of like a tourist thing. Well, they'll take you back to a different time period, but they tell you that you have to stay on this path. Like, there's a path that was created that they were able to determine that as long as you walk on it, you wouldn't change anything to the greater extent of history. And the main character ends up stepping off of the path, and there are consequences. So it's a good one. Yeah, Heidi, thank you. The Sound of Thunder. Thank you for that. I knew Heidi would know. And Emily says, hi, Kat. I picked the Americas, 1, because that's my ancestry, and 2, because Europe was gross, and 3, the Americas still hadn't been colonized. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But depending on where you went, you also could have been like royalty with like the Aztecs, which there was some pretty terrifying things going on there too. So I'm with you though. The thing that is so sad about indigenous heritage in America is a lot of people think that when the settlers arrived, that they just found like barbaric camps of people who were just like living in the woods and didn't know anything. And the truth is they had massive civilizations that ended up being decimated because of the diseases that the Europeans brought over. And if the Europeans had never arrived, that those civilizations would have eventually thrived and adapted as well and created who knows what kind of technology. And it's just so sad. So if I had the opportunity to go back in time and see what civilization for indigenous people would have been like before the Europeans showed up in America, that also would have been really fascinating to me. I agree with you 100%. Magnolia says, well, I was aiming for better, of course. And Issa says, the sound of thunder. Oh, Issa knew as well. Thank you. And Miss Starbucks says, I think the Native Americans would be okay to be royalty in. I have no idea. I have no idea what that would have been like, but hopefully it would have been better. That is my hope. But I will go ahead and get the next sprint set up, but I need you all to tell me what time, like how much time you would like to have for the second sprint. So we can do 30 or 45 minutes. If you put any other time other than that, then that will not be the one that is chosen. And Teresa, hello. Teresa says, hi, just stopping in. And you're talking about one of my least favorite topics, time travel. Oh, yeah, that's fair. Time travel is definitely a trope that appears in a lot of places. And depending on how it's done, it's not fun. But I'm really curious why, Teresa, time travel is like one of your least favorite topics. Is it the way people talk about it? Is it the concept of it? Is it the way that it's been presented? All of the above? You know, what is it about that? And Kat won and got 45 minutes, and Miss Starbuck agreed in 25 seconds. And he says, Alex, there is a book, 1491 nonfiction about what it was like. Oh, I did not know that. Where's my pad of paper? Oh, I have nothing where it is supposed to be and everything where it shouldn't. I hate that. I hate being disorganized. Okay. Oh, there it is. I found it. My tiny little purple pad of paper. Yes. Do. Gotta write that down. 1491. Thank you. Nonfiction. Miss Starbuck laughing about her 25 seconds. Robert saying, billions and billions. Nobody wants billions of minutes of me. Not even me. And Heidi says, 1491, New Revelations of the Americas Before Columbus, book by Charles C. Mann. Hee hee. Thank you. That's great. Miss Starbuck saying, hee hee. I love that. And Teresa says, I think it's just so unrealistic, although one of my favorite movies is Somewhere in Time. I have never seen that, nor do I know anything about it. So if you want to tell me a little bit of what that's about and why you like it, feel free. And I will go ahead and get the 45 minutes set up here. And then my next question for you all for the next sprint is going to be, would you rather take public transit to work for convenience or drive a car in traffic? And depending on where you live in the world, I feel like I'm probably going to know what your answer is, especially like culturally. There are very, great differences between people who live in the United States and people who live in, for example, European countries. So this is going to be fun. You could even, I should also put in there that you could also say like bicycle. I guess it doesn't have to be specifically like bus, train, like anything run by a government or like a township. You could have anything other than a car if you wanted. Like, what would it be? There are some countries that they travel by boat. So, sky's the limit. And Kat says, I love Somewhere in Time. Nice. And Robert says, Doomsday book by Connie Willis, detailed time travel. I hated it. You may enjoy it. will say I'm picky about the way that time travel is handled because I don't think that everybody does it the same. Like it has to be you can't just hand wave it and say like, "Oh yeah, like everything works out and this and this don't matter." And the authors that like they don't keep any sense of consistency in a story or you can like see a plot hole. I don't enjoy that at all, but I love rules. I am like and that sounds I don't know. It sounds so boring, but I love rules in a story because rules create stakes. That is the thing I will say time and time again. So if you can like lay out exactly how a time travel system works and why it works that way and you stick to it and nobody's able to break the rule just because they're like the main character and they have like magical powers or whatever. I'm good with that. That's fine. But a lot of people they don't create like strict rules. Heidi says, me too. Christopher Reeves and Jane Seymour. She visited the real hotel in the movie recently. Oh, cool. And Teresa says, Kat, it is so romantic. I miss Chris Reeves. Aw. And Miss Starbucks said, I still have the time traveler's wife on my TBR. Yeah, I've heard about that too. Heard about that too. Yeah, feel free to answer that question. I'm going to go ahead and get the 45 minutes up on the clock. I will remember to unmute myself next time so I don't like make that embarrassing mistake again. And I think I'm going to finish my chapter of Crying in H Mart and I'm going to go back to Prime Deceptions. So hope you all have a wonderful 45 minutes and I will see you all in a bit. All right, everybody, come on back from the last sprint. Let me know how you did. Before we left, I asked you all the question, would you rather take public transit to work for convenience or drive a car in traffic? And apologies if you can end up hearing like the storm outside. The storm's going pretty hard. So sorry about that if you can hear it. Let's see, I got to go back here. Let's see. Kat was saying that she'd agreed with Teresa about missing Christopher Reeves. Heidi says, Magnolia, you must drop your TBR and read Time Traveler's Wife in this sprint. That's sweet. And Magnolia says, Heidi, is it that good? Haha, sorry, but I am currently reading Monk. He also said, I would rather just drive a car in traffic. Much more freedom. And Heidi says, Magnolia, yes, it is that good. Mind-boggling, too. Interesting, because I haven't read that either, so I guess I'm going to have to take time to do that at some point. Jamie says, I always prefer public transport, but most places I've lived in have such lousy public transport that it might as well not exist. Yeah, that's not fun. Robert says, public transportation for me, driving to work, I'd rather chew on razor blades. Okay, cool. And not chewing on razor blades. Razor blades, that's not cool. But you have an area around you that has good public transit. That's cool. Magnolia says, well, maybe it will be my best read then, Heidi. Although I am participating in a readathon, I still have to choose strategy first. Heidi says, Robert, yes, you know about the RTE 80 and the GWB. I was so happy to make it home from Long Island a few weeks ago. It was like a plane safely landing after a turbulence. Everybody claps. Robert says, Heidi, July 1st, I'll be retired for 4 years. Before the pandemic, it was taking 50 minutes to go from 14th Street Avenue C to entrance of London Tunnel, the 45-minute route, 46 to get home, 1.5 hour to 1 hour 50 to go 25 miles. That is ridiculous. No wonder you would pick public transport. And Jessica says, if the public transport actually worked in the city, then I would take that. But where I live, catching the bus is really expensive and always ends up being more than one bus and ... There is no train that comes to our station. Yep, we have a station, but the council isn't smart enough to think that a train can actually stop for us. That doesn't make any sense. And Heidi says, Robert, it is like having your own personal walk through Mordor every morning and every night. And Robert says, I just saw Keaton give Alex spare ribs. I don't know where you got that, Robert, because I replied back, not spare ribs, we're passing a laser level back and forth, which I have. I keep a drawer full of random tools in my office because I'm a tool hog. But yeah, I have a level in here that I just have. And Jessica says, however, my work is like 5 minutes up the road, so traffic isn't so much of an issue for me. But anywhere past our little suburb, and it'll take you forever. We also have bad road infrastructure. It's terrible. Robert says, oh, and I'm reading Oedipus Complex. Instead of Oedipus Complex. Oh, that's good. Oedipus Complex by Michael Vertenberg. It says, guy falls in love with the building and then murders all of the tenants. Okay. I'm also reading Gray Dogby, Elliot Gish. That guy falls in love with a building. That is interesting. Alicia says, I'm also reading Oedipus Complex. Robert, good stuff. I have never heard of this, and two of you are reading it right now? That is wild. How did both of you hear about that? And Robert says, Alicia, Michael is intelligent and smart. He has great content on his channel. And Alicia says, drive in traffic. I'll take my own car over public transit any day. I can't read while on a bus or car, so that wouldn't be a plus for me. Kat says, drive a car in traffic. Thankfully, not much traffic where I live. That is thankful because it is not the case for me. Alicia says, agreed, Robert. And Kat says, If I had reliable public transportation, it would be a game changer because I could get a lot of reading done. True. Robert says, Alicia, where were you there at the stream? Michael is foggy. I know Kat was there. Heidi says, now that we have audiobook apps in our phones, you can read anywhere, in line at the post office or waiting at a doctor's appointment. It is revolutionary. Stephen King always carried a paperback. Kat says, I always have a book with me. Yeah, I'd still much prefer to carry around a book with me and have it at an appointment than I would listen to an audiobook, but that's just personal preference. Heidi says, Kat, you are like King. And Kat's laughing, which is, I mean, in certain ways, that is a compliment because the man is prolific and he reads a ton. Alicia says, Robert, I was there for the second half. I missed the first half. Jessica says, welcome to my car. You guys are currently helping me clean it, LOL. We are almost finished. Yay! I love a good clean car. And Melinda says, hello, just back from bringing my daughter back from school. That's awesome. And welcome to you, Melinda. Happy to see you. You said, for me, public transport, when I quit working to become a stay-at-home mom, all I missed about my job was my commute via train because it was extra reading time. That's fair. Yeah, you had like that time just to yourself every day. There is something about a commute like that that can create like a way for you to kind of decompress. Like I know back when I was in school, I had an internship where I had to take a bus in order to get to it because I mean, like I could walk there, but it was like huffing it in order to do that. And it was just nice when I would get off and I would just take the bus and I would wait. And that was kind of just time for myself. And I liked that. But I really liked trains. And if where I lived had better public transit, I would 100% take it. No joke. Because I do like driving and it doesn't bother me at all. But there's just something about driving around a bunch of people who act like idiots and you just see so many wrecks every day. Like every day that I have to drive somewhere or go to work, I am like, okay, I got to be like as careful as possible and like be a defensive driver because other people are, aggressive drivers. And so there's just, it's kind of eliminated with public transit, but then there's other weird stuff that can happen. I've had run-ins with, we'll say, some interesting characters while on public transit. So nothing's perfect. Everything has its pros and cons. And Diane says, drive a car in traffic. I can listen to audiobooks. There you go. And Christina says, not feeling very well. We'll just be lurking on sprints while laying down. Thanks for hosting sprints, Alex. Happy sprinting. I'm sorry you're not feeling very good, Christine, but I hope that you feel better soon. And that it's like allergies or something and not that you're like ill. And Miss Starbucks said, feel better soon, Christina. And he also said, read 28 pages this session, so 48 in total. Good job. You're crushing it. Zach says, hi, I'm reading Animal by Lisa Tuadio. And I'm good to see you, Zach. Sorry, I meant to say that. I'm liking it, but the first 14 chapters should have been about 8. It was a slow start. That's not fun. Zach says, Heidi already finished Dragon Rider by Taran Matharu and gave it 4.5 stars. Nice. And Miss Starbucks said, I prefer physical books as well. Ebooks or audiobooks are not for me. That is fair. And Heidi says, Zach, oh wow, going on my TBR right now. Awesome. Kat says, hey, Melinda. Melinda says, I much prefer trains over buses. The constant stop and go of buses makes me a little car sick. Okay, interesting. I do think trains stop quite a bit too, but I never really thought about it, but I guess buses do stop more often. And Melinda says, hi, Kat. And Magnolia says, I can sleep so well in trains or buses. I can't, so that's impressive. Zach says, I don't trust Stephen King's blurbs. He said the woman in the window was unputdownable, and I hated it. Yeah, I will say that Stephen King blurbs so many books just like George R.R. Martin does that I don't really take it that seriously anymore if he blurbs one, which makes me sad. But he was the one he blurbed The Cabin at the End of the World, and I gave that book 2 stars, maybe it was 2.5, and ever since then I've just kind of taken it with a grain of salt. Kat says, Barry says, hello, Alex. Well, hello, Barry. We are heading out to eat dinner. I will be back. Well, I hope that you enjoy your dinner, Kat. Kat says, hey, Zach. And Rachel, hello. Rachel says, "Hey, Alex, hope you're having a fabulous day." I am, Rachel. Today has been awesome. It was really busy. I'm tired, but overall, positive day. Can't complain. And Zach says, "Hi, Kat." And Rachel says, "Oh, hi, Kat." And oh, before I get to the very end, because we're almost at the end of the comments here, be sure to let me know how long you would like the next sprint to be. They can do 30 or 45 minutes. And Magnolia says, "Have a great dinner, Kat." And Melinda says, "When a train stops, it's pretty smooth. At least our public transport trains. Buses make much harder stops and the whole vehicle shakes." That's fair. I do agree that trains are just like, they're just a very smooth system as long as everything is functioning as it should. Melinda says, "Who knew I had such opinions about how vehicles stop?" That's kind of the fun thing about these questions is they make you think about your personal preferences, and I enjoy that. So, I love getting to know that kind of stuff about people. And Magnolia says, "I'm headed to bed now. It was fun again." Well, it was very fun to have you, and I hope that you sleep well and that you have an awesome weekend. Here in the US, it is a long weekend for us because we have Memorial Day on Monday, which is a national holiday. So I'm hoping that everybody is going to have a awesome weekend. Hopefully, maybe has some plans even. Melinda said 45, so we'll do another 45 minutes. Thank you for that, Melinda. Robert says, hashtag, I got nothing. And Miss Stark says, bye bye, all. Have a great rest of your day or evening. Awesome. I did want to ask you all because that was honestly a great segue. Because we have a Memorial Day, at least here in the US, and for those of you who do not have an extended weekend, I care about this as well. What are your weekend plans? And it could be, you could be like, Alex, it's going to be the most mundane thing ever. I'm going to do laundry and I'm going to clean and that's it. And I'd be like, great. Okay. So tell me what it is that you're doing this weekend, or if you have anything fun that's going on, and I would love to hear about it. And so I will go ahead and get our next sprint set up. Got 45 minutes up on the clock. Hope you have a wonderful time reading or working on whatever you want to work on. And I will see you all in a little bit. All right, everybody, come back from that sprint. Let me know how you did. Um, if you were wondering why, thank you, honey. If you were wondering why I disappeared off camera for so long, it's because while the storm was going on, the wind and everything was going really hard, and I heard a loud noise, like a metal noise that I hadn't heard ever before. And I thought it sounded like my vent up on my roof. And so I got in my attic and I was looking, and sure enough, there's a like a little, it wasn't like a ton of water, but there was a little leak that was coming in where something outside may have been shifted, and I can't do anything about it right now. But I was up there like trying to, pack like paper towel and stuff around it all just to like keep it from hitting the ceiling. So my my sprint, I was not really reading. I read a little bit, but not a lot. Um, but this is just life, guys. Like every time you come on my channel, you are getting the authentic, real me of like everything that actually goes on in my life and the craziness and all the things that aren't perfect. And I appreciate that you all are here for that. It I really do. So before we left, I was asking you all the question, what are your weekend plans? And for me, I can tell you that tomorrow Keaton and I are going out to have lunch with my mom, and I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to a place that we haven't been to before. It's like a little brewery, and we'll be going kind of like a little bit into like the city in order to get to it, and to just spend some quality time with her. And then on Sunday, I'm actually going to be on Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems, his channel. He said that he wanted to have me on and kind of do like an interview. So I was going to make a community post about that tomorrow after he makes his post that I'm going to be on there with him. And we're going to be doing that in the morning, which is really fun. So if you have any interest in listening to me talk about horror or like hang out with Cliff, you're more than welcome to check it out on Sunday. And then Monday, I think it's just going to be a pretty relaxing day. He's probably going to, go for walks and, you know, um, I don't know that the library is probably going to be open again because it's a holiday. So probably just going to spend some time reading, likely going to have to find a day to do chores. So probably be working on some of that and taking the car out for a spin and continuing to practice my stick shift driving. So we'll see how it goes. If any of you like cars and you're curious about the one that I ended up picking up today, it's a 2006 Pontiac Solstice convertible, which is really cool. So it's an older car, it's 18 years old. Not a spring chicken anymore, but they also haven't made Pontiacs since 2010. So it's also like kind of a collector's car. I know that if there's ever a day, which I'm sure I'll want to sell it at some point. I don't know how long I'll have it, but if there's ever a day that I want to sell it, there will be people out there who want to buy it, who are collectors, and that's fun. So probably gonna kind of like give it a good clean and everything this weekend. Yeah, so it'll be pretty chill. But looking forward to hearing what your plans are. So I'm going to go over here. And Melinda was the first answer and said, boring weekend. We tend to stay in on the big weekends so we don't have to fight traffic. See, more talk about traffic. But you do have to plan a lot around traffic. It's not fun at all. And I totally understand. And big weekends can be nice because they can be good staycation times. Other people, they always want to travel on a long weekend. Me, I tend to like to have, a day or two where I do something, and then I like to have at least a day or two at home. That's typically how I like my weekends. And Jessica says, I mean, it's me weekend now. Saturday today is, oh yeah, that's true. Puttering around the house and a bit of reading. Sunday, I work at a local thrift store as the manager on site to raise money for animals. That's so cool, Jessica. I love that. That's fantastic. What a cool cause for you to do that for. And also, yeah, I hope that you are enjoying your Saturday. Alicia says, I'm going to stay around the house this weekend, hopefully read, then head to my parents' house on Memorial Day. Nice. I hope that you enjoy your time with your parents. Zach says, I'm house sitting for my sister. Lots and lots of reading time, but not much else the way I like it. Good. Then you're spending your weekend how you want. And Heidi says, 3-day weekends are great when my husband is off from work. It is a bonus all around. In July, we will take a week-long vacation at my family's lake house. Fantastic. I wish my family had a lake house. That would be cool. Faye says, hello. Hello to you too, Faye. Late to the party because I was hanging out with my dad. Let me catch up on questions. I'm happy that you were hanging out with your dad. That's cool. I love hanging out with my dad. Faye says, I'm actually fascinated by medieval Ireland and Britain, so I'll probably choose to be royalty 1,000 years ago. Okay. Cool answer. You said, I hate cars and public transportation, but I've always wanted a moped. Okay. Moped is acceptable. Beep, beep. Go about your merry way. You said, what I'm doing this weekend, working hard on my undergrad thesis. Yeah. Which is due next Friday. Holy crap. Wow. You got this. You can do it. Canada holiday weekend was last weekend, though. I did hear about that because I work with a lady who is in Toronto. Yes, I believe she's in Toronto. And so that's cool. I'm glad that you at least got your weekend as well, even if it was last weekend. Heidi says, Faye, please read The Gale Song by Shauna Lawless. 3 novels, 3 novellas, fantasy, historical fiction, 1000 AD Ireland. 2 women are the main characters with magic. Yeah. Robert says, food, shopping, laundry, trip for daughter, and I get coffee. That's it. Staying home and reading until Monday. Tuesday is new glasses day. I always love it when I get new glasses. And Teresa says, we will cook out Saturday and then church Sunday. Oh goodness, I'm sorry, I'm yawning. And some reading in there sometime or other, not going to families this year. And that's okay. I'm sure you have a good reason for not doing that. Faye says, thanks, Heidi. Robert says, storm knocked out my webcam. Oh yeah, sorry, I told you about that. Jessica says, I finished cleaning my car and wrote a solid 2 pages. Good job. You finished your car, though. Linda says, edited a video, made a thumbnail, caught up on some comments. Next sprint, I get to read. Good. Diane says, we're staying home and relaxing. That's beautiful. Zach says, in my book, it looks like in my book, a woe. Melinda says, is the storm still raging? No, of course it's 8 p.m. where I am, so the sun is going to start to set, but it is calmed down now. So I know that means at least that we're not going to get any more leak into the roof until later tonight. It is going to storm more tonight, unfortunately, and then I think it's supposed to be a thunderstorm on Sunday as well. So I'll just be having to look out for everything. It is what it is. And Emily says, attempted 24 hours of reading in 48 hours. The extra day off gives me the semblance of a break between reading and work. Yeah, awesome. William, hello. William says, hi, arrived late, but hope to catch up at least 2 sprints. I'm glad that you made it. And Diane says, IDNF funny story. My first Emily Henry read. I have 2 others and may give them a whirl eventually. That is fair. And Diane says, be safe, Alex. Thanks. I do my best. And you said, have a wonderful and safe weekend, everyone. You too, Diane. Thank you. Zach says, in my book, a woman's haircut was described as interstellar bangs. Does anyone know what that means? I mean, I know in certain cases, in sci-fi, it's kind of described as like very angular. So like maybe she's got like the kind of like the triangle bang, if you know what I'm talking about, and then like the bob cut. I don't know. That's like kind of the first thing my mind goes to. William says, Cliff, big fan of him. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. What a nice guy. Robert says, Michael Vertenberg was just on with Cliff. Cool. I love that. Cliff is getting everybody. Kat was on with him a few weeks ago. Alicia says, I saw Barker. Yeah, he just has been, making little appearances here and there. Robert says, good luck with the new car. Thank you. And Rachel says, oh. And Alicia says, the Gale Song series sounds interesting, Heidi. And Zach says, I'm in the U.S., but I celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving on a different day to avoid my family. Well, you're spending that quality time with yourself. That's how I would describe it. And Jessica says, I feel ignorant. Who's Cliff? Cliff is a guy he has a channel here on BookTube, and he's mainly a horror reader. That's like what he focuses on. And he has a channel called Cliff's Dark Gems, and he's South African, has a really nice personality, reads like a ton of like classic sci-fi. He's also a big fan of Stephen King. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with him because I think that we'll have like a nice discussion. I don't know how long it'll last. It might be like an hour or so. But I think it's going to be cool to get to talk to some of his viewers as well, because like our channels don't necessarily overlap in terms of the people that are watching us. So yeah, I like it for the opportunity, one, because I like to have exposure of people, like I get to talk to them and they get to talk to me. But also just I've never talked to Cliff, you know, in I say in person, but I think you know what I mean, where it's like not just one person's talking and another person is typing. We actually get to have a conversation, which is cool. Robert says Interstella bangs out of this world. Yeah, I guess so. It sounds terrible though. Jessica says, any way to link his channel? Yes, absolutely. Give me just 1 second. I am happy to do that. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let's see here. Took me a second, but I got it. There we go. I just put it in the chat, Jessica. So this is it if you end up wanting it. And then Alicia says, oh, are you going on Cliff's channel this Sunday? I missed that info. Yeah, I am. He and I had been talking about it for a little while, and he wasn't going to make his post until tomorrow about it. And he told me that once he makes his post, I could go ahead and post on my community page that I was going to be on there. So I'll be able to give you all the time and everything when that's going to be listed. So it's going to be good. And Jessica says, thank you. And you're very welcome. Yeah, you should definitely, like anybody who is interested in horror, who wants to hear like about a person who really focuses on that and reads a ton of different stuff and different kinds of horror, Cliff is an excellent resource for that. And he makes a lot of content. He's very consistent for sure. I will say for you all that just between the car today and then going up and finding the leak in my attic, I'm very tired. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more 30-minute sprint. I know it's short for tonight because I'm only doing it, a little over. Oh, it'll be close to about 3.5 hours by the time that we wrap up. And normally I go, between 4 and 5, but I don't think that I can do it tonight. So I appreciate your understanding about that in advance. But I'm going to go ahead and get that up on the. Well, I hear the fire department. That's not good. I hope people are okay. I will go ahead and get my banner up as well for you all because I have to ask every single time. I have to ask now. What is one thing that you accomplished over the last week that you're proud of? So just let me know that because I think that that's going to be great. Jessica says, no worries, Alex. It's good to be here for however long. We're very sweet, Jessica. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. William says, I love the ibis birds calls in the background of Cliff's channel. His bird calls. Oh, the ibis bird calls in the background of his channel. Yeah, where you kind of get like the surround sound of, where he lives. It's cool. And Jessica says, cleaning my car is a great accomplishment. Yes, it is. And I will go ahead just for everybody to be able to put their comment in the box. I will see you all in 30 minutes. And I hope whatever you do for your last 30 minutes is great. I'll see you in a bit. All right, everybody, come on back from the final sprint of the evening and let me know how you did. I hope it was a good time. Um, I asked you all, the question was one thing that you've accomplished over the last week that you're proud of. And I know Jessica said that, cleaning her car. I have to go do that for the new one too. And I actually might work on that after this if I get a little restless, which I do sometimes even when I'm tired. And Heidi said, we get to see you again live on Sunday, so an early night tonight balances it all out. Yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't really think about that, but I appreciate that perspective, Heidi. Thank you. And Heidi said, thanks again for the great conversation, everyone. We have hockey playoff here in New York started already. Well, go Heidi's hockey team. It's very exciting. I hope that they win. And Faye says, I'm proud that I managed to wait until I had enough money and a coupon to buy a stack of books this week. I wasn't supposed to yet, but I don't care. I held out longer than I thought I could. Great job. That is an accomplishment. Restraint is an accomplishment for sure. And Robert says, proud of, supported Heroine Bob Booktuber's channel and sent her 20 books. Oh, that's great. Bought Ellie's Vibes new album. Sorry, I completely butchered that name. Independent music artist on Twitch. Well, that's awesome that you were super supportive of independent creators this week, Robert. So good on you. Alicia says, I have to dip out early. Thanks for sprints and good night to all. Good night to you too, Alicia. And Jessica says, I read 20 pages exactly, which was good. Waited for a break in the rain so I can get wood in for a fire tonight. I hope that the fire is lovely. And Faye says, I've started The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Yay! I hope that you have a lot of fun with it. It's a great book. And Kat says, I'm back. Well, Kat, you're back just in time for me to have, just to say goodbye, because I'm really tired tonight and I can't continue on with sprints just because it's been a really eventful day. And I hope that everybody ends up having a fantastic long weekend. And Zach says, I can't answer, last week vanished. And you know what? That's okay. The accomplishment could be that you made it through the week unscathed. There you go. And Melinda says, my big accomplishment, made it all week without buying more books. Good job. That is success. Faye says, hi, Kat. Kat says, hi, Faye. Well, with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining me this Friday evening. As always, we spent 3.5 hours together. I had a great time, even though it has been a chaotic day. And William says 7 pages. Well, I got 1 sprint. You did, William. Hopefully you'll be able to get another one next week because I plan to be here next week too. Robert says, have a great weekend. Kat says, happy weekend, everyone. And to you all as well. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I will talk to you next time. Maybe even I'll see you Sunday when I'm on Cliff's show. I hope to. That would be really cool. Good night, everybody. Or good morning. Or good afternoon. See you later.